fast forwarding all the way to where we are now. We did the thing that you're probably doing right now, bouncing around from reading free information online in the form of blog posts, listening to podcasts, watching videos, on people's email lists, really trying to put it together yourself. And some pieces you put into play work for you, but some pieces don't, and you're constantly struggling. And it wasn't until we realized we needed to hire a coach that understood my background, understood where we were, and understood like, okay, how do we make this work? What's up, my friend? I'm health expert Ted Rice, and I'm super excited to bring this episode to you today. I'm coming to you from Phuket, Thailand, where it was my wife's birthday yesterday, and we spent an entire day out at James Bond Island. The movie in 1974, the James Bond movie in 1974 named Golden Gun apparently had a scene or some scenes that included this particular island. And it was so much fun. We disconnected the entire day and was out on the ocean in these unbelievable limestone formations in the ocean. If you ever get a chance to come to Thailand, come to the south of Thailand, Phuket, get out there to those islands, Phi Phi Island, Naka Island, James Bond Island. Make sure you do it. It will blow your mind. Another place, by the way, is Ha Long Bay in Vietnam. Just incredible limestone formations. You feel like you're in a different planet almost. It's so incredibly beautiful. Anyway, today I'm going to share with you another Real Talk Friday episode where I'm going to be discussing something. I'm going to pull back the curtains behind my business a little bit. I was having a conversation with one of our new group coaching clients. I have 2 one-on-one calls with our group coaching clients just to make sure at the beginning that they really feel taken care of. They really feel on top of everything. And during the end of our conversation, my client said, wow, it's just so amazing that you're doing this, that you live in Thailand right now, and that I can work with you from there. And I'm getting results. In fact, she's already down 5 pounds, either 4 or 5 pounds. She's lost inches on her body, and she's only been in the program for a week. Okay, that's what we do here at Legendary Life in our group coaching program. But one of the things is she was just so blown away by how I could run a business and get results in everything that we do and live abroad. And you may have thought that too, like how that's crazy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, and mainly about some of the mistakes we make, because there's so many parallels between what you might be doing and what we used to do. So if you're new to Legendary Life, this show is all about clearing up health and fitness confusion by breaking down science-based information on how to lose fat, prevent disease, and live a longer, healthier life. But today on Real Talk Friday, I like to share mindset lessons. I like to share lessons from our life. So I'll tell you this, our one-on-one coaching has been killing it. And our group coaching is just picking up steam. Everything in our business is going well. There is nothing but a bright future ahead for myself, for Legendary Life, for my wife. My wife's going to be starting her own thing. She does, we haven't talked a lot about what she does, but she's in the marketing space, and just everything is going our way right now. And it feels incredible. And you may be saying to yourself, well, that's great for you, Ted. Thanks for rubbing it in, brother. I'm on my way to work right now, to a job that I don't really care about, or I'm not really feeling that great today. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you how we got here, because everybody sees the tip of the iceberg, but they never see below the surface. And so that's what I want to share with you. When Giselle and I first started Legendary Life, it went by several different names, by the way. And we had no idea what we were going to do, how we were going to make money, how we were going to serve clients. So we just jumped into it without really understanding. And we bought a course from John Lee Dumas about podcasting. And that's how the whole podcast got started. And I felt a connection with it immediately. And it felt amazing. Maybe like you can relate to that once you make the shift from listening to the news or talk radio or the top 40 or whatever you've been listening to in your car. And then you discover podcasts like this. It's like, oh my gosh, there's just a wealth of information where I can use it to change my body and change my health and, all the other good things. So I was in that situation. And there were so many options, like how are we going to make this a viable business? In other words, how are we going to make money, not just to survive, but also to thrive, to have the type of lifestyle we want, to help our families, and also create a change for people who end up in our circle, who end up in our tribe, whether they just listen to the podcast or end up, buying something, a service or product from us. And we came up with different ideas, but nothing was working. And let me tell you, the honeymoon lasted, I've been doing this, I think 5, maybe going on 6 years now, the podcast. And there was a honeymoon phase where I thought that it was going to be easy to get results. Probably like you start listening, oh man, there's all these experts giving me opinions for free, they're giving me their information for free. It's going to be so easy to figure things out and apply it and get results. And so I was in the same situation. And after a couple years of, people don't realize I wasn't just not making money from the podcast. I was spending money to keep it going, and it's not cheap. Now I can't break down all the expenses, but now our expenses are quite high. So have some, in case you don't know what it's like to be a solopreneur or a business owner or a small business owner, or even a big business owner. You may look at your boss or whoever and be like, oh, you guys are making so much money. But the truth is, a lot of it goes right back into the business. And so we weren't making any money from what we were doing. I was making money from training clients in my personal training business in Miami Beach. My wife was doing her marketing consulting business. We were spending money to do the podcast. And the truth is, unfortunately, most people in the online world who try to make it, quote unquote, make it their full-time gig, they get stuck just pouring money into it. Probably like you, if you've bought a bunch of courses on health and fitness or paid for PDF workouts or whatever you paid for, it's probably just sitting on your computer right now doing nothing, isn't it? Maybe you took a couple things away. And we're in that same situation. We bought a few things, but then we realized we needed to start hiring people, or we needed to start consulting people. The first person who said that I should do a coaching gig was Eric from Beard Brand, Eric Bandholz. And he's like, man, why are you not doing coaching? Why are you trying to sell these $37 products or $97 products? Do coaching. That's what you're already doing. You have a ton of experience. It's the way that you need to go. It's the no-brainer way to make what you're doing into a business. And it sounded great. In fact, that's how CEO Strength, for those of you who've been listening for a while, that was the name of our first coaching program. And I also want to tell you this. There was a moment between Giselle and I where she was working for the business full-time after her client started running into hard times in Miami. She got laid off because this guy was relying on the Brazilian tourism, and Giselle's an expert in that. She's Brazilian. She's a marketing expert. And it dried up due to some economic and political changes in Brazil. So the guy went bust, lost millions of dollars. Really terrible story. So she got laid off in the process. And it was a blessing in disguise. She was working for the business full time all of a sudden. And she was working hard. I'd leave in the morning to go train clients. And then I'd come back and she was working on the business. I'd leave again to train the afternoon clients, come back. She was still working on the business. But we weren't making any money. And we didn't know what to do. And we ended up going to another event. So I already had been told, do coaching. Then we went to Jeff Walker's product launch event. Now, if you don't know Jeff Walker, he's one of the OGs, one of the original gangsters in online marketing. He's done very well for himself and he has good ethics, right? There's some people out there who are just like, that guy, I don't like him. Jeff is a good guy. He's a bit goofy, but he's done very well for himself. He's one of the first people to really do well online and he's got great information. And we went to his event and there was a lot of clapping, bouncing around. And we even they gave us a workbook to work through what we were doing. And it was helpful. But the most helpful part was when we sat down with one of their coaches and they said to us very straightforwardly, listen, why aren't you doing coaching? It's so obvious. You're already a coach. You just got to transition it online. And I don't know why, right? I mean, two people, by the way, Eric from Beard Brand, if you have a beard, you might know who he is. If you don't, then he makes beard oils. His business is doing great. He's got a great brand, great business, doing well. And now we're at another event in Arizona, had a great time there. Actually took a plane flight through the Grand Canyon that we couldn't even afford at the time, but we did it anyway, put it on a credit card. And because we needed the break, we were so burnt out. And here we are again with an expert, a coach actually, who's telling us, why aren't you doing coaching? And this message just kept coming up again and again. Why aren't you selling coaching? Why aren't you putting together a coaching program? And eventually it got to the point where we were so desperate that I came home from work one day and Giselle was just plowing away. And during personal training, this is what happens to every personal trainer. And by the way, personal training is terrible. It's a terrible business model if you're running it like the average personal trainer. So what happens to just about every personal trainer is that during the summer, you work with clients who can afford to pay 80, 100, 150, whatever you're charged per an hour. So they leave during the week, they leave during the summer and you're left there living off of what you were able to save up during the week, during the other parts of the year. And that was coming up. And I had backed off of personal training to focus on the online business. And I knew it was coming up. And I was worried because it's like I already cut back to spend more time on the business. And to be honest, I was hating my life. Now, there was nothing wrong with my clients. I wasn't being mistreated or anything like that. Although I could point out a couple of things, but really, ultimately, I just wasn't feeling it anymore. Some people could take my place and be like, wow, this is a dream job. But for me, I was over it. I needed to transition out. And I came home one day and I saw Giselle working and I was like, Giselle, you need to find a way to make this work. You work all the time. We haven't made $1 from all the work you've been doing. We need to figure this out. Fast forwarding all the way to where we are now, we did the thing that you're probably doing right now, bouncing around from reading free information online in the form of blog posts, listening to podcasts, watching videos on people's email lists, really trying to put it together yourself. And some pieces you put into play work for you, but some pieces don't, and you're constantly struggling. And it wasn't until we realized we needed to hire a coach that understood my background, understood where we were, and understood like, okay, how do we make this work? And what they told us, again, do coaching, do one-on-one coaching, do group coaching, and here's how you do it, and here's what you charge. And I even remember talking to Jamie Tardy from the Eventual Millionaire podcast, very successful woman who's done well in the online space, very well connected. And she's like, why aren't you doing coaching? You should be, charging $1,000 a month and doing all this. And why it's crazy that you're not doing that. And still, I wasn't doing that. We were hopping around trying to figure things out. And it wasn't until we got out to Asia, really, and we had our backs against the wall and we needed to make a change and we weren't sure what to do. We ended up hiring a coach. And it changed everything for us. And that's how Legendary Life Program came to be. That's how we put everything together. We put together a course for our group coaching clients and for our one-on-one coaching clients. We just started finishing that, and it's up, and at least the first part. Everything is going amazing. But it wasn't Giselle's idea. It wasn't my idea. We didn't know what to do. It took an outside person who had experience, who really knew what they were doing, to put us on the right track to where I am now. I've been in this business for 20 years. I spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars, 20, 80, 60, $1,000. I've spent, so much money going to seminars, traveling around, learning health and fitness information. None of it took me to the next level business-wise. It wasn't until I invested in coaching with the right person that I am able to experience the life where I left my unhappy job in Miami Beach. I've been to Thailand many times, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Bali, in several different cities, and I know I'm leaving a couple places off here. We're living the life of our dreams. Now, it's not always a Sunday picnic here, so don't get me wrong, but I ain't complaining compared to what we were experiencing in Miami. We're living the dream. I am truly on the path in my life. And I'm saying that not to brag or not to impress you, but to impress upon you, as Tim Ferriss is fond of saying, that it wasn't my freaking idea that created my success. It was someone telling me what the hell to do and getting me clear what I needed to do, what would work for me. And I also want to tell you this. We did hire coaches in the past, and hiring a coach is the first step, but you can make the wrong decision. And I've done it. We hired this one dude and we paid him $700 a month. And he was trying to get us to write an ebook. And ebooks are great if you have a list of 100,000 people or 50,000 people on your list, and people buy your book and read it, and hopefully some people will use some of it, but most people just don't. And it just didn't click, and we were never able to get it off the ground. Then we hired another coach, and again, no big breakthrough. Then one time I paid 5,000 USD to go to a coaching experience where I was promised that this guy was going to help me get clear on exactly how I was going to help people put everything together, tell me how to market it, tell me how to do all these things. And I went, and it was a great experience. It made me feel good. But after I left, I'm like, that guy didn't deliver on the things he said he was going to deliver. I'm still lost. I'm still not making I'm not making the money, right? I'm still not creating. And it's, again, not about the money and trying to, to afford Ferraris here. I'm talking about the money to survive on this business, just to survive. What I learned there, and he promised me a lot of people who even join this coaching business or coaching experience, sorry, make their money back before they even go to the experience. That's what he told me and Giselle. And Giselle didn't want me to go, but I wanted so badly to believe that this guy had the answer that I didn't check in with myself, because something was off about the dude. And I felt it, but I wanted to believe so bad that he had the answer. And he was successful. And to my credit, or in my defense, rather, I know another person who paid him for coaching, and it helped a lot. And I know a couple other people, but the difference was they already had a business that was surviving and doing well, and they just needed to be taken to the next level. So I really didn't belong there because I was at a more fundamental level. I needed to handle some more basic things. I wasn't lacking the mindset, which we ended up working on mindset. I'm like, dude, I don't need mindset right now. I need the structure here. I don't even know what I'm offering, right? I need the structure. And he said he was going to give that to me, but never did. So I know there's some of you out there who you're listening to me and I plug my group coaching and you're like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if it's really going to be good or if he's really going to deliver on what he says he delivers. And that 4 to 6 pounds that people lose in the first week, I trust Ted. That's why I keep coming back, but I really don't believe it. I get where you're coming from, right? And I'm not going to convince you to believe me. You've got to check in with yourself to know whether you think I'm being 100% about that or not. Now, obviously, I am, but again, I know I can't convince you. You've got to check in with yourself. But here are a few lessons I want to take away. This is what I'm trying to convey to you here, is coaching and mentoring is the way to shorten a 10-year or 3-year or 1 year or 7-year process into a matter of months. And that's what we do in our group coaching program, in our one-on-one coaching. We get people clear. This is what you need to do. All that other stuff that you think is important isn't important for you. Here's what you need to do. Focus on that. And when they do, they get results every single time. It works for everybody who ends up putting it into action. Now, some people go backwards. Some people, I had a client get sick recently. I had another client who's one of their parents got ill, and we actually gave them more time in the program to make up for it because of that, because we're sympathetic to family issues. It was a pretty bad situation. But at the end of the day, if people do the work, they get the results. If they don't, then they don't. But I understand if you're skeptical out there. But I'll tell you this, do not give up. Do not shy away from getting a coach just because. Now, if you're not sold on coaching, I'm not trying to convince you here. I think you're completely ridiculous if you're doing it on your own. And this is something that's truly important to you. Because what you'll end up like is the majority of people who just flounder around and dabble. Really, that's about dabbling. And for some of you, whatever area of life you're in, dabbling is kind of where you're at and you don't want to do more. And you know what? I get it. Not everyone has to, lose a bunch of weight or have 6-pack abs or, make 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever it is, have a great relationship. You just want to dabble. You're not after that much in life. Now, probably if you're listening to a podcast named Legendary Life, you do want more. And if that's the case, then coaching and mentoring is the way. And not just for what I do, but for anything. If you want a better relationship, you better go to Gottman, John Gottman, or the Gottman Method. I think it's called the Gottman Method, Gottman Institute. You better get there and hire a relationship coach or therapist from that organization to get you and your partner squared away. Do not try to fix it on your own. If you're in a situation financially where you're a mess, I don't know the coach to tell you to hire, but I'll tell you this, Ramit Sethi and Dave Ramsey, I like Ramit's information more. I resonate with it more. But those are the people to go to. And then, you'll have to find the right coaches based on that. And for health and fitness, well, of course, me, especially if you're over 40 and if you're looking to lose weight. Now, if you're in your 20s, I'm not the right person. Or if you just want to dabble, I'm not the right person. But if you want complete transformation externally and internally, I am. But you don't know, right? And you've got to spend some time to figure out, even once you're convinced that coaching is the right way, you've got to figure out who to hire. And then it becomes this whole other thing where you're just inundated by choices. There's so many coaches out there. And the truth, like anything, like any profession is what I should say, is most of them aren't very good. That's the truth. And I'll tell you one thing, you get what you pay for. I'll tell you that about coaching. So if you're investing in apps or $100 products, or even a coach that you pay $200 a month for, you're going to get what you pay for. Nothing wrong with that, but know that if you want more, you've got to invest more, right? Not just money too. Usually, you're going to have to step up more. But I'll tell you, the end result is that you get what you want in life, whether that's a better relationship, whether that's to get out of debt, whether that's financial independence. It's all possible with the right mentorship, with the right coach. And we're living in a time where there's an amazing coach. Now, some people are going to be out of your price range. There's people and events that I want to go to that cost 10K, 10,000 USD. I'm not there yet, but when I am, that's what I'm going to do. And even me personally, I'm working with a nutrition coach right now because I needed the accountability being in Asia. Otherwise, I'm just going to eat out all the time. We have a coach for our business. We have a coach for our Facebook ads that we run. Why? Because there's not time enough to figure everything out that we need to figure out. So coaching is the solution. It's the answer. And my best piece of advice, and then I'm going to wrap things up here, is it's up to you to check in with yourself. And don't run a left brain cost benefit analysis. Listen to the person. Check in with how you feel about it. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Listening to the person, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And not think if you think it's not right, but feel that it's not right. Like there's just something about that person, the way they talk about things or whatever it is, the vibe, it just makes me not resonate with them, then don't do it. And that includes with me, no matter how many times I try to promote myself. If you feel it's wrong for you, if you feel like, I like listening to your podcast, Ted, but I don't feel it's right, then don't do it. However, when you feel the connection, when you feel that it's right, go for it. All right? Go for it. It will be the best thing you ever do in that area of your life, of course. Losing some pounds and working out isn't going to fix the fact that you're $20,000 in debt, right? So understand that you'll have to find the right coach for the right situation and feel whether they're right for you or not. Feel the authenticity, feel the transparency. Make sure you feel this is a person who's going to talk straight with you and really listen to you and really help you. And that is the best advice I can give you for stepping up in your life. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Real Talk Friday. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll speak to you on the next episode.